Welcome back to the Sean Show. This is the second lesson in our karate concepts for adults. If you haven't watched the first lesson, I'm going to go ahead and link it up here so that you can go ahead and watch it. In the first lesson, we trained some blocks and some punches and the concept of what stances are, and we also talked about what active hands are. Now we're going to learn the first kata here in this lesson. Why kata though? Well, I believe kata is a great training tool that helps build solid fundamentals for our blocks and strikes and our stances. It's really similar to shadow boxing if you've ever done that, but with specific techniques to work on. It also has some applications, and we'll look at those at the end of the video, so stick around for that. So the first kata is called Takyoku. Many systems use this as their first kata. Most systems do this kata with low blocks and center punches. We do too, but I'm going to show you some variations later in the video that if all you know is Takyoku, add that to your training. So here we go. Feet together and bow, Takyoku. So the first thing that we're going to do is look to our left, load for that low block, turn into a front stance and do our low block. Then we're going to step forward and we're going to punch. We're going to look over our right shoulder, load that hand, turn around, do a low block, step forward and punch. We're going to load that punch hand. We're going to turn to the front. We're going to step forward and do 3 punches. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to turn and do a low block, but we're going to turn with the other, we're going to do the low block with the other hand. So we're going to drop this hand, load up, look over our right shoulder, spin and do our low block. Step forward and punch. Load our punching hand, look over our right shoulder, turn and do a low block, step forward and punch. Then we go back down the eye. We're going to load up, turn back down the eye, and do 3 punches. 1, 2, and 3. After the third punch, we're going to go ahead and load that chamber hand again. Load it up, look over our shoulder, spin, and do that low block. Step forward, punch. Load that punching hand, turn around, step forward, and punch. And that finishes the kata. We'll go back to our yoi position and bow. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we've learned Takyoku, I want to give you some different variations. The first variation is just to exchange low blocks for the high blocks, and the center punches for face punches. We've learned these in the first video. If you haven't looked at those, go back and look at that first video. Takyoku. Okay, here's another variation. On the blocks, instead of doing front stances, do back stances. The front stance variation is a lot easier to do because that's all you're going to work on, but the back stance variation allows you to add in back stances, work on weight distribution in your kata. Takyoku. See how I'm leaning back here? I'm in this back stance, and then I step forward and punch. Stay back in your stance, and then punch. These different variations that I'm showing you on this video allows you as a beginner to practice more without learning how to, without having to learn different katas. So it's really beneficial for you. The last part of lesson 2 is the application of Takyoku. The first application we're going to look at is the first 2 moves, low blocks and punches. All right, so the application of Takyoku, the first 2 moves that we're going to look at are that low block and punch. So you're going to turn, do your low block and punch, and we're going to have Ireland. She's going to help me out with this. So the way this works is we're going to go ahead and get our training partner. We're going to provide a little bit of resistance here on our forearms, okay? So in the kata, we turn left. Well, that means that we're gonna move to the side of our opponent. So we're gonna step to the side as we do that low block. So we're gonna grab that hand, step to the side and do that low block, and then punch. Or we can even step and punch to have that overwhelming force. Let's turn this way so that you can see a little bit differently, a different angle. So we're here, we're gonna step offline and pull them down with that low block. So turn your hand over, step, and grab as you pull. That's pulling them off balance, and then we're throwing that punch, okay? You can work on aiming here, but I like to just punch right through, right past their face when I do this. So at speed, it's gonna look like this. And then if you want to, you can step in and do it. So low block and step in and punch, okay? You would switch to the other side, do the same thing on the other side. So we would do this step and do this low block and punch, and then our partner would do it. The second application is the 3 punches up and down the middle. This is more of a concept rather than an application though. The idea of punching 3 times while stepping forward demonstrates the idea of applying constant pressure on your attacker, overwhelming them. The stances can be a little bit shorter, but it implies that you move quickly through them, not allowing your opponent to reset after each time that you're striking. A lot of students ask, well, why do we do the 3 punches? A couple of the explanations are, well, we're doing 2 punches with the right hand, the more dominant hand, and then we're doing 1 with the left, so we're getting that repetition. I also like to think of it as overwhelming our opponent. And so when we do this low block, we're stepping forward and we're throwing quick successions of punches to overwhelm the other person. So I'm gonna bring Ireland in and we're gonna do that. So she's gonna move up just a little bit. So if I was here like in the kata, I'm just looking to punch, punch, and punch. And so I'm really kind of overwhelming her. I'm just keeping that constant pressure on her. And that mentality is what we wanna bring to our training. Well, that's it for lesson 2. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If you liked it, please go ahead and like the video and subscribe to see my future videos. I look forward to seeing you guys next week for lesson 3. See you then.